Hi, I'm Lisa and welcome to my channel, The Southern Seamstress. I hope everyone's having a great summer and that you've had some time to get some sewing done. I've gotten a couple of patterns made up in the last couple of weeks. The last couple of days I've been battling some seasonal allergies. Here in Arkansas, the ragweed is in full force and I'm apparently pretty allergic to it. I've been sneezing and blowing my nose constantly for the last couple of days. So if my nose looks a little red, that's why. I took Benadryl for the last couple of nights and that's kind of dried things up. So I thought I'd try to get my video made to show you what I've been up to lately. In this video, I'd like to share two items that I've made. One is from my Make 9 2024 video that I did in January. And the other one is a pattern that I mentioned, just like a month or so ago. Of 5 free patterns that I'd like to make this summer. But before I get started, I'll just mention what I'm wearing. This is a t-shirt I made last summer and it is Butterick 6848. It's just a nice basic t-shirt and it comes in long sleeves, short sleeves. It has a round neck or a v-neck and I really enjoyed this. This is some cotton knit fabric that I got from Spoonflower. I really like prints that have birds on them, so I thought this was a sweet print. So I really like this pattern. I don't know if I'll make it again. I think of all the t-shirt patterns I've made in the last year and a half since I started sewing again, that the Style Art Gem tee is my favorite so far. But this one would probably be a close second. So the first pattern I'm going to talk about is a free pattern from Sew Magazine, and it is their Monika top. The Monika top is just a nice, cool, breezy summer top. It's slightly fitted. It's got a V-neck. They show it with buttons up the front, and their version also has a high-low hem. This pattern comes in sizes 8 to 20, which is a bust size of 30 to 43 inches. Now, I first made a toile out of some muslin of this pattern because I'd not made any Sew Mag patterns before. I wasn't sure how they fit, if they were true to size. Now, my measurements put me in a size 12, so that's what I cut the muslin out of. But when I tried it on, it seemed like it was just a little bit too loose. The armholes were really loose, and it just seemed too wide across the shoulders also. So I felt like I could size down and it would still, have enough ease to be comfortable. So I made a couple of changes on this pattern. One thing I changed was the hemline. I'm going to take her arm off so you can see it, the sides better. But the pattern has the back 3 inches longer than the front, and it has a nice, pretty curved side. I didn't want it as cropped as they had it. So what I did was I added 2 inches to the front and then I subtracted 1 inch from the back, which made the front and back the same length. Now I added the length for the front below this point where you stop stitching the side down. So I added it here and then I subtracted this one here. This pattern has a facing that goes all around the neck, the front, and then it's got a back facing. I did make the front facing 2 inches longer like I had done the top, but somehow the facing still came out about a ½ inch shorter than the front. So my top does dip slightly a little bit right across here. So I don't know if that's something I did or if that was the pattern, but if you decide to make the top, you might want to, put the facing piece up to the front, just to make sure it's the same length. So I was pretty happy with the top. The instructions were pretty simple. They are listed on the website. You don't print the instructions out. Now this is I think a UK pattern, so some of the wording is just a little bit different than what you would find on an American pattern. Say like when you were finishing the edge of the facing, I think it said to neaten it, which it just meant that you could, serge the edge or you could turn it up under with slight hem. And then on the neckline, it was saying to tease it out, and I think they just meant, to clip the corners or clip the curves, and get it flattened out. But other than that, the instructions were good. I made my top out of some fabric. It's cotton lawn from Spoonflower Fabrics. I also had this design in a smaller print, and I made a little blouse out of it last summer. But I think it's just a really beautiful watercolor print. So I had a yard and a half, but I think I just needed a yard because on the inside for the facing, I just used some solid cotton lawn because I didn't want this print to show through and be like a double print back here because this black's pretty dark. And instead of buttons, I decided to use some pearl snaps that I had from Cam Snaps. And I think they look really pretty with this watercolor design. And they went on well. Now, I probably wouldn't use snaps if the fabric was any thinner than this cotton lawn, like if you were using a chelly or, you know, some kind of chiffon or something. I don't think it would have enough weight for the snaps, but I think these did okay. There's 2 layers of cotton lawn, and then there's some light interfacing here. This blouse does have darts, and I think I decided to leave the darts in the same spot. My bust line is probably maybe a 1/2 inch lower than the dress form. But it's not super fitted, so I think they hit close enough. So I like the V-neck. It's not, you know, too plunging, but it's not too high. And I really like the curved sides. I do like the front and back being the same length. The only thing I probably didn't like about the pattern, how it turned out, was this back neck area. I don't know if you can see it, but I've got the shoulder seams right on top of her shoulders. And this little part just kind of, it doesn't lay flat against the skin, and that kind of bothers me. I don't really think it's a narrow shoulder issue because her shoulders are 1 inch wider than mine, and you can kind of play with it and stretch it out sometimes, but then if you lay this flat, then it kind of makes it start puckering up here. It's not really that noticeable, especially if your hair, you know, comes down longer than that neckline. But I just felt like it could be fitted better here. So if I make it again, I may take part of the width, just a little bit, maybe 1/2 inch, 3/8 of an inch, out of this back section, probably all the way down, because I don't think it will interfere with the flowiness of this part. The other part I would probably change is, even though I downsize, I feel like the armholes are kind of gappy. I can still wear it. I mean, it's not that they're super low, it's just that they kind of gap out right here. So I will probably make a bigger seam, you know, and then, you know, kind of grade it out down here, and that would fix the problem easily with the armholes. But all in all, I think it's a great pattern for a summer top. It's easy to cut out, it's quick to make, and it's also free. So that's the Monika top by Sew Mag. Now, I'm not going to put the blouse on today. It fits me pretty much like it does the dress form, but I will try to wear it in one of my next videos. So the next pattern I want to talk about is a skirt pattern that I had listed in my Make 9 2024 video. Now, I believe this is my 4th make of the Make 9. I'm not doing quite as well as I wanted to on my Make 9 2024. I only have 4 months left, but I've got 5 patterns. Now, 2 of the patterns remaining, I think, are summer patterns, a dress and a top. So I'm thinking I'm probably not going to get those made just because there's a couple other summer things I want to get made up first. So this lovely little skirt is Simplicity 9750. I think I bought this pattern last year, and I thought it was really pretty how they had put the horizontal pleats on it. I'm going to push it back, maybe you can see it a little bit better all the way. But it's pretty long. I think it's about 3 inches above my ankles. But it's got a double row of tucks on between the top tier and the middle tier, and then on the bottom of the middle tier is 2 more tucks. This pattern comes in 3 different lengths, and I made the longest length, which is view A. It comes in sizes 8 to 26, which is a waist of 24 to 41.5. Now my measurements came out to a size 12, so that's what I made. But it's got quite a bit of fullness, so I could have probably made the size 10 and it would have been fine. So if you're kind of in between sizes, you could probably go with the smaller size. Some of the suggested fabrics for this pattern were chamois, cotton lawn, poplin, rayon, silky types, and soft cotton types. This is actually a pretty lightweight linen. It's a softened linen from fabricstore.com online. And to be exact, it's their IL019 bleached linen. Now this pattern does take a while to cut out. I think it has 11 or 12 pieces to it, because it has the waistband's a couple pieces. I think this is 3 pieces to this one, and maybe 4 to this one, and then maybe 5 to this bottom tier. So that's what the bottom tier looks like. I'll hold it up. Now I shortened mine by about 1.5 inches. And I'm only 5'2", so if you're a very tall person and you want it, to come down pretty close to your ankles, you're probably going to have to maybe lengthen 1 or 2 of the tiers. What I did was I made this tier exactly this like the pattern, and I took the 1.5 inches out of the middle long tier, and it still comes about 3 inches above my ankles. Now this pattern does have a lot of gathering. You have to gather, this tier and then this tier. So if you don't like gathers, you might not want to make the skirt, but it's not that difficult to get them, looking halfway even. And with the tucks over the seam line, you can't even really see where it's gathered at. On this pattern for the tucks, they give you a line for the fold line and then a line for the stitching line. I think the easiest way to do this is to get the pattern pieces cut out and then, lay it down on a table and use your seam gauge and measure from the bottom of your fabric to however far away that line is supposed to be, rather than just trying to mark it with the lines on the pattern piece, because that's what I first did. I just would put a pin in every so often where the line was, and then I'd get my ruler, but it seemed like it was waving a little bit. So it would have been easier just to use a seam gauge and measure from the top of the tier up. I think the skirt turned out really pretty. For me, I probably won't wear it as much as I thought, because I'm a petite person, and just feels like a lot of skirt, and it's a little dressier than I thought. If it was just probably the plain tiers, I would feel like it was more casual, but I think the tucks just give it a more dressy feel. So this is not probably a skirt that I would wear for really casual outings, like going to Walmart or the grocery store, but I probably will wear it maybe like if I'm going out to a nice dinner, or if I'm going to church, or maybe like to a wedding. I think it would be pretty for that. Now, if I ever make this pattern again, probably what I'll do is I will omit the tucks altogether. They do also make it require a lot more fabric, and I would probably make it more of a silky type, more like a challis or something, so that it's maybe not quite as bulky on me. But I do think it's a really pretty skirt pattern. So that was Simplicity 9750. So in the next few weeks, I do hope to make some of the summer patterns that I have before I launch into fall and winter sewing. I've also been thinking about, what I'm going to be making for my Christmas gifts. I know I'm going to be making some of those kitchen items that I showed in a past video. So I'm hoping to get, a few of those items made this summer, so I won't be so rushed this fall. It will probably be a couple of weeks before my next video. My husband and I are taking a short little trip right after Labor Day up to Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I haven't been to that state before, so we're kind of excited to go. We're just meeting some friends that are going to be there, and we're going to see a Brewers game with them, baseball game. I haven't really seen hardly any professional baseball games. I guess the only ones I've seen are like the Arkansas Travelers. I think they're kind of a minor league team, so I've never been to a major league team. I'm not really big on professional sports. I'd really rather watch like high school or college games, but I think it will be fun to go to the stadium. I was looking to see what colors the team wears. I think it's navy and yellow. and I never wear yellow. And navy, I don't wear too much navy, so I'm trying to decide what I'm going to wear to the game, because it's going to be in the low 70s, I think, during the day, and then at night it's going to get down in the 50s. So I'm thinking, you know, a long sleeve top. So I'm trying to think of something that will kind of blend with their team colors. I guess I need to see who they're playing and what their colors are, so I just don't wear the other team's colors. I think our friends have also made reservations at a really nice Italian restaurant. I think it's called Tenuda's. Maybe pronouncing that wrong. Let me know in the comments if you've been there, or if you're from Milwaukee or you visit there, what are some fun things to do. I know we're going to be staying close to what they call the River Walk, so it should be pretty scenic in that area, I think. But if you have any favorite restaurants in Milwaukee, let me know what those are, because my husband and I both love to try out new restaurants. So if you enjoyed this video, I would love for you to give me a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed already, I would love for you to hit that subscribe button. And until I see you in my next video, take care and happy sewing.